What's up, good people? My name's AJ. I'm a financial advisor at a private wealth management firm and a CFA charter holder. And today I'm going to be talking about the only and best realistic way for you to make $1 million. So the topic of my video is nothing new, it's nothing special, but it is something that a lot of people haven't thought about or haven't considered, and I know this just from having conversations with people in the past. It's probably my favorite aspect of my job as a financial advisor when I can explain this principle to someone who hasn't thought about this simple math before. And it can be really eye-opening to people. It can motivate people to make the right decisions early on or slightly later in life to set themselves up for success and save up $1 million by retirement. I think that most videos you might see on this topic all talk about things like starting a business or becoming a real estate guru or trading stocks or doing some kind of e-commerce to make $1 million in a pretty short period of time. And all those things can work. I've tried a couple of them myself and have had limited success, but they're not realistic for everyone. Not every person can open a small business. Not every person can be a house flipper or a real estate agent. And so I wanted to make a video covering the same topic to let the people out there who either haven't seen those videos and haven't tried this before, because this is going to be an easy way to do it, or have tried those things in the past and kind of felt defeated about their own personal wealth savings goals if they haven't been meeting them. And hopefully those people will use the information that I give here as a way to reach those goals. So I'm not kidding when I say it's a really simple principle, really simple math. And I'll just break that down here for you guys. So basically what I'm talking about here is saving up $1 million in an investment account. And basically the number that's most important to you if you want to save up or have $1 million at retirement is $149 a month. That's what it's going to cost you. You have to be able to put away $149 a month, and about 95% of Americans can. I would love for this video to get a lot of traction with people who may not have realized this fact before, or just may not have done any planning around maybe saving up for retirement, and especially haven't considered earning $1 million, because again, $149 a month, even if you're someone who's making 20 grand a year, that's just less than 10% of your personal income. So I know some people are in really difficult situations relative to others, and I don't want to kind of sit on a high horse and tell everyone, you know, you need to do this today, but it is something that's realistic. The numbers I'm using to get to those numbers is a 40-year savings period. So if you were to get a job right out of college in the US, you know, say you work from 22 to 62, or if it takes you a little bit more time before you get a steady income after college and you work from 25 to 65, you know, age 62 or 65 are realistic retirement ages for most people. And you're invested in a stock market fund that's getting you average stock market performance. I'm using a 10.5% annual number, I think. If you look at 1900 to 1965, the average stock market return is something like 10.4. This is the S&P 500. And then from 1965 till today, it's something like 10.6% or so. So I think the average over the last 100 years is right around 10.5. Even if you used a 10% number, your $149 a month becomes $171 a month. Again, still doable for most Americans, definitely for most families. Basically, my point is that I'm using realistic return numbers. Now, you could argue that as you get closer to retirement in those later years, the mix of your investment allocation is going to get safer, so you're not going to be all in the stock market, which could be true. If you had a low return expectation in future years, you just have to allocate a higher dollar amount for monthly savings now, and that would be okay too. But just to illustrate the point, again, 40 years, if you can earn 10.5% per year, which is the average stock market return, and you save $149 a month, that puts you at $1 million after 40 years. So I just want to reiterate this point because I do think it's the most important theme of this video, which is that this is realistic for almost everyone to do. And I would tell you, just in working with regular people who make median incomes in the United States, many of them are saving a much higher amount each month than $149. So even if you're at the lower income scale, this is something that's going to be totally doable for you once you've established a steady income. You can put the money away either into a 401k plan sponsored by your employer. If you have a company match coming in, then you might not even have to do the $149 a month because the company is going to add some funds to your account for you. Or, you know, my personal favorite in my point of life is my Roth IRA account. A Roth IRA can be a great option for a lot of people. I'm not going to necessarily say it's the best option for you. You'd have to look into that yourself. And I'll add the reason why the Roth IRA is my preferred option is because it is tax-free growth throughout the course of your savings period. And if you look at the $1 million at age 62 or 65, however you run the numbers, and break down the amount you've put in versus what has come from compounded investment growth, over those 40 years, you end up putting in something like 80 grand. I don't remember. You could check it pretty easily. 150 a month times 480 months. But I think it's only like 80 grand came from your real money. $920,000 comes from compounded investment growth over the 40-year period. So if you can get that investment growth tax-free, of course, that is a favorable position to be in from a tax perspective later on in life. So a Roth IRA might be a good option for you, but you know, regardless, really what I want to hit home on is it doesn't matter all too much which type of investment account you're doing, as long as you're putting away your $149 each month and investing it in a stock market fund. Some people could think that my solution to earning $1 million here is a little bit lackluster or boring because it requires waiting until you're 62 or 65 years old. And you know, to those people I would tell you, I kind of agree. So get a good job and earn more money and put more money away, and you can potentially get there sooner. You know, if you said, well, I want to have money in my 40s. Okay, so put some of those dollars into an after-tax account that you could access in your 40s. I would say put the 150 into your retirement account, or 149 that you're not going to touch, and then put some additional money into an after-tax investment account for a purchase you'd like to make in your 30s or 40s, and then you can have some money for fun at that period too. But let that be an additional form of savings rather than your primary form of savings, because again, we want you to get that $1 million when you're ready to go retire later on. $149 is like what some people spend on eating out during a month, or actually much less than what some people would spend on eating out during the month, or the difference between leasing a Ford Fusion versus a Ford Taurus or something. You know, it's once you have a steady stream of income, a regular job, $149 a month becomes a fairly negligible amount. And to earmark just a portion of your paycheck for that, to know that you can have about $1 million when you go to retire, is a really powerful tool that I think everyone should be utilizing, almost everyone, to be able to live comfortably later on. And it's a shame when you see people get to that point, and I'm sure a lot of you know family or friends who are, you know, elderly and struggling financially because no one ever told them to put away $149 a month when they were younger, or nobody ever encouraged them to save anything really, or practice any form of financial responsibility. So I want to be able to share that message to people who maybe haven't heard it before. And if you have heard it, let this be a motivation to you. I would tell you, personally, I put away a lot more than $149 a month because I'm going to have a lot more than $1 million when I go to retire. So you can start off at that number and always keep increasing it. Kind of be competitive with yourself, set higher goals, keep pushing the limits on what you can do from a savings perspective, because again, this is not difficult. You don't have to be a real estate flipper, you don't have to be a stock trading guru, you don't have to be an e-commerce millionaire to do any of these things. You just have to be a regular person with a regular job and you can get $1 million. I would tell you, working with a lot of these clients, there are hundreds and hundreds and across the country, probably hundreds of thousands of people who have stuck to these principles and accomplished $1 million+ accounts later on in life. And they're ordinary people, regular blue-collar people you might see walking down the street. One of my favorite examples is a mailman who, I think he saved into his account for something like 55 years, so it was longer than the time period I'm talking about. But he never earned more than, I think, $23,000 or $24,000 in any given year, and he always earmarks 20% of his pay. So he was doing more than $149 a month. But my point is that this was a low-income person, fairly low-income person in the United States. He worked for a longer period of time. When he retired, he had $17 million. So this guy was wealthy by a lot of standards, especially in other parts of the world. And he didn't do anything special. He didn't know anything about investing. He stuck with the same fund for 55 years. I'm not necessarily saying that's what you should be doing, but that's what happened in this example. And you know, it's a regular story about a regular low-income guy who finished up his career with $17 million in an account. And anyone can do this. It's so easy. There are free trades, free accounts all over. You know, Schwab, Vanguard, Fidelity, whatever website you want to use, whichever commercial you think looks the prettiest when you're watching like the Super Bowl or something, open an account with them. Or again, your company's 401k plan. Start saving, get to work on this. You can be a millionaire. The only warning that I would issue to people who are motivated by me saying this and are going to start saving for themselves is that in the early years, it's not going to feel like it's working. And what I mean by that is you're going to be putting away your $149 a month into an account. And so most of the money in that account for the first really 3, 5, maybe 10 years is going to be your contributions. The investments might grow a little. They can also drop. So you could see the total account value falling in the early years, which might be discouraging. but also you're just not going to get to take much advantage of the compounding investment growth yet because your balance isn't built up too far. So I'm going to encourage you, if you're feeling like you're in that scenario, to wait it out until you have 10 grand. There's nothing too mathematically significant about hitting that $10,000 level, but what is important about that is your own psychology and how the human brain works. And I think once you have 10,000 bucks in an investment account and you're putting in your 150 bucks a month still, you'll start to have years where the market earns enough that the account grows by much more than what you could have contributed. So really that's when you'll start to see the investment value start to grow because of what the market's doing and not necessarily because of what you're putting in through your hard-earned paychecks. So I'm just saying, be patient, wait it out. The early years are not exciting. I think it's a long-term game. But again, I'm really offering a very simple solution that everyone can take advantage of, so it is going to require some patience. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme like some people might have talked about, but it's something that is very doable if you have the patience and 149 bucks a month to put away towards it. So please, 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 if you're not saving already monthly, I would encourage you to start doing so. If you have any questions, leave a comment, let me know, and happy savings.